Holy Spirit, fill this room. In this moment, I know that there is only one life. That life is God. God is in this room. God is in each and every one of us. For there is no separation or disconnect. God is in all, for God is all. So I speak my word this morning. I speak my word in blessings for this church, for this container of love that is overflowing all over this space. Outward into the city, outward into the state, outward into the country, and into the world. For we are God, living and expressing, thinking and loving and being. So I bless this service. I bless our senior minister, Reverend Celeste Frazier. I bless the practitioners and the board of trustees, the members, the volunteers. I bless the people who walk by, the people who visit us. I bless the people who share our parking lot and our space. I bless those that see us, that are looking at us. Those people on the street, those people around the corner on the bus stops and in the tents. I bless all the programs that we serve with food, with clothing, with supplies, and with love. For I know that we are all one in this community, sharing and loving and being the expression of God. So I give thanks. I give thanks for this church. I give thanks for our willingness to be, to show up, and to be God in form each and every day. And I release these words, allowing them to be, allowing them to be done. And please cement them with me by saying Ashe, Amen, and so it is. Good morning, East Bay. Good morning. I don't know about you, but I have been here probably for the last 5 days. How many of us have been here for the beautiful concert on Friday? And then again on Saturday, standing on the promise? Yes, it has been a wonderful weekend, a wonderful weekend. At this time, I wanted to mention our treatment box. And so for those of you who know and those of you who don't, we have a treatment box in the back of the room. If you have a prayer request in your heart, please fill out a form and put it in that box. What happens then is that one of our practitioners will pray for you for the next 30 days, keep you in mind to make sure that we are in alignment with whatever your desires are. If you have a prayer that you would like for today, after service, you can go back to our beautiful prayer room. Has anyone seen the prayer room? Our beautiful prayer room, and have your prayer fulfilled today by any of the practitioners. Our practitioners are identified by the purple stoles they are wearing each and every Sunday. So definitely don't leave here without having your prayer heard, received, and delivered. Okay? Right now, we are going to go over our sacred covenant. The covenant is in the back of the chair in front of you, unless you're sitting on the front row. And if you're sitting on the front row, I believe all of you know how to get your sacred covenant. So please stand. And we are going to say this in unison. Just allow some of our members to take a chair, occupy a chair. Okay. There is only one life. This life is good. This life is God. This life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions. Because I know that my highest purpose is to glorify God, I therefore know that I am a revelation of God as wisdom. I further know that I am the fulfillment of that which has been promised by God, for it is written, wisdom comes with the ability to be still. Let stillness direct your words and actions. Wisdom expresses through love. It is pure, peaceful, compassionate, and produces a harvest of good deeds. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see myself as an expression of divine love in action. I now intend to experience myself in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself. I am inspired to live as love in the expression of wisdom. I am awakening the divine knowingness within me. I am creating and holding a sacred container for healing. I am demonstrating compassion through generous service in our greater community. I am studying, teaching, exemplifying oneness through the mysticism of various traditions. I am engaging spiritual activism that empowers social upliftment towards the common good. As I now accept the highest expression of my life, I know that I am revealed in a way that glorifies God and serves the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by my presence. I am grateful. God is gracious. Amen.
Wait, don't go away. Good morning, East Bay. I just want to say, I love this practitioner. And I'm going to tell you why, and I'm trying not to embarrass you. She's obedient. She does her prayer work. She does her community outreach. She respects her minister. And, you know, she carries a vibration that shows you who she is. So, thank you. I needed to say that. But what I want to highlight about the Sacred Covenant is some of the things that I also said about Ona. The first thing is, it says, because I know my highest purpose is to glorify God, I therefore know that I am a revelation of God as wisdom. So that's letting us each know that we're here to reveal the wisdom of God. I'm going to say so much more about that later, but this is just kind of setting the stage for that. The second thing I want to bring to your attention is I am demonstrating compassion through generous service in our greater community. The first reference was your wisdom when you get ready to vote. The second reference about your generous service in our greater community is to vote. And the third thing I want to bring to your attention is, as I now accept the highest expression of my life, I'm only accepting that. Because remember, our affirmation was the only thing that matters is that I resolve to be successful. Amen. So when it says, as I now accept the highest expression of my life, I know that I am revealed in a way that glorifies God. Let your vote glorify God. Now, in case you don't know who I am from that, my name is Reverend Celeste Frazier, and I am the spiritual leader of East Bay Church of Religious Science. Yes. It is my joy here this morning, and thank you for all of you who have been hanging with us on our revival weekend. I know y'all didn't know that New Thought could do revival, but if it could be done, we did that. Okay? Now I want to welcome people who are here for the very first time, or perhaps you've just been here this weekend for the very first time. If this is your first time at East Bay, we invite you to stand, please, so that we may confer a blessing upon you. Are there any first-time visitors here? It's okay. We're not going to hurt you. All right. It's all family. It's all good. So now, yes. We welcome each other with reaching out, touching, smiling, shaking hands, hugging, whatever's comfortable for you. We just want you to know you're at home.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. Yes, we can. Reach out and touch somebody's hand. out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. Yes, we can. Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. Yes, we can. Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. Yes, we can. Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. Yes, we can. Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. Yes, we can. Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Yes, we can. Reach out and touch somebody's
make our journey back to our seats. I would like to invite up the announcer for our community opportunities.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful morning. I enjoyed the extra hour of sleep. Yes, having had a very, very busy Friday, Saturday, and now Sunday. First-time visitors, or we don't have any first-time visitors. Okay. But wherever you are, you're welcome for a first-time visit. We have a program in terms of being in need of prayer. If you're in need of prayer, contact our pastoral care ministry via our website, pastoralcareeb@gmail.com, and leave your contact information for the love and support of practitioners and others. Of course, prayer changes, and as Ona mentioned, our practitioners will be available in the prayer room after service. And I must admit that my sitting in that prayed up space yesterday beside my personal practitioner, Georgia Eagles, had a remarkable effect on my disposition. I mean, it was just love and peace, indeed. You probably have noticed that our fellowship hall was recently painted. And as yes, indeed. And as our renovations continue, New flooring will be installed in the fellowship hall this upcoming week. All classes previously scheduled for the fellowship hall and the prayer room are to be held in the same substituted locations as last week. Of course, thank you for your cooperation and general support, that is. It seems that day by day in every way, things are getting better and better. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. There is a midday meditation session here in the sanctuary, Tuesday through Friday, 12:30 p.m. to 1 p.m. Free and open to everyone. Opportunity to balance your mind, your body, and your soul indeed at our daily meditation. Also afford yourself a lift to get you through every week. Come to our Wednesday night healing and revealing service to embrace wholeness and release the rest. Indeed. Right. Meditation is 6:15 p.m. and service at 6:30 p.m. You know, the East Bay Unexpected Income Program continues through January 1, 2019. Of course, this does not in any way suggest that you will not be blessed with unexpected income after that day. However, we are encouraging you to sign up for this project before that date and get bountiful prayers from practitioners toward promoting a stress-free holiday season. So put your filled out name forms in the basket and let the blessings wash over you. Okay. Our teen church officially returns today. However, no child can be admitted without the parent or guardian signing them in. And Reverend A want to say something about this.
They get the alphabets mixed up.
Well, let's see it.
Yes, this is Reverend C. So the teens are starting today, and we're tightening up our youth and family program. So parents, every child must have a medical liability release on our file. The forms are available. Every person working in youth and family must sign a pledge of support, which also says that they are freed up from any of the stuff that would concern any of our parents. And we're also making sure that your children are safe and that our church is safe from any liability, because we hold them both very dear. Thank you.
Thank you for that addition, Reverend. Yeah, that's very important. I know I coach a lot of kids, and you have to have them safe, and etc. If you donated an art object to East Bay that's not currently displayed on our walls, we request that you retrieve that or those objects from the resource room located in the far corner of our kitchen after service. As we continue to renovate our spaces, your cooperation is needed in this particular concern. Young adults, 18 through 38, and yeah, if you're 38, you still young. Yeah. Ask me how I know. You are invited to a potluck Wednesday, November the 14th at 7:30 p.m. to be held in our fellowship hall. bring a dish or drinks to share and talk about how this ministry can service you because you are the emerging leaders as well as the architect of your lives. Yes. The reason I'm looking at, did you have something to add about that? No? Oh, you just, hallelujah. Okay. To ensure that you have health insurance for 2019, enroll in a health care program before December 14, 2018. Missing the deadline exposes you to being forced to pay 100% of medical bills. That is not a favorable situation, given the skyrocketing cost of medical care. So visit healthcare.com to learn more, healthcare.gov to learn more and to enroll. The media ministry is seeking video camera operators, audio engineers, live streaming support, and more in the line of media support. If you have experience or desire to learn, we have Arlene King here to give you info about that ministry.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, everyone. I do want to talk about communications overall. The audio video is under my portfolio, but I'm going to talk about that next week. But today I want to talk about the bookstore. How many people have been in the bookstore? Yes, it's one of my favorite places. And so I polled a few people and said, well, how do you feel when you go in the bookstore? I feel wisdom. I feel peace. I feel the light in the room. So that we want to carry on forward, but we have some specific things I want to highlight and things to ask for. So the specific highlights. This month we're going to kick off our used book campaign again. And the reason we're doing it now is we're leading up to Christmas. So bring any book that you have. We will sort them, keep what we want, and then we'll donate the rest to Bookmark Bookstore downtown. They will in turn sell them. All the money goes back to Oakland Unified School District. So this is our giving season starting now. That's the first thing. And I'm pleased to welcome back Elaine Smith and her jewelry. We're launching Vendor Village again. And Elaine, you can just stand up just a second so people remember who you are. And Elaine had sales before church started. We have some people, women here, who can showcase their designs, her designs. So Elaine, we welcome you back and we're glad to have you here. Elaine will be with us November and December for sure, so stop by and visit her. And finally, a couple things I'm asking for the bookstore. One, you stop and shop every Sunday. There's always something in there for you. Number two, I'm looking for someone to coordinate the used book program, so you can see me after service. And finally, another coordinator for our seasonal decorations. That's not my gift. I'm pretty black and white, so whatever, if that's your gift, you can spruce up the bookstore for the holidays or whatever. I'm looking for that type of support. So stop by, check in with us. But the communication ministry, you'll hear more from me next week. But we're live and kicking. Thank you.
Thank you, Arlene. I have a couple of more community opportunities for the right person to put some skin in the game. The youth and family ministry is in need of someone to provide administrative support and folks to serve our youth on Sunday. Contact Reverend Celeste in that regard. Her number is in the bulletin and she's everywhere available. As well, there are 2 openings available to lead the membership team. This team needs to be up and running by December 3rd to prepare member classes in January. And we're getting more and more members. So the right person need immediately contact, here again, Reverend Celeste, who here again is all the way, everywhere available. Okay. So my parting statement is that voluntary service is the portal to an expansive life, to freedom. Even the multi-billionaires, after their business had, decreased, then they retire. They go into philanthropy and volunteering as an expansive life. The universe is expanding, so go with the flow.
So, as our musical inspiration begins to prepare to come up, I'm just going to shamelessly and unapologetically add one more announcement. This is November, so we will have a Thanksgiving brunch on Thanksgiving Day from 10 to 1. Prior to that Sunday before, we are having a Feed the Homeless Day. So if you are interested in that, we want you to come out, help us feed the homeless the Sunday prior to Thanksgiving, and on Thanksgiving morning, come here and fellowship with us from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thank you so much. And now we are going to hear from our beautiful song angels. Now, I believe this is the women's ensemble. Yes, okay. Our own international choir. Thank you so much.
Please give them some more love. Under the direction of Ms. Sharon Henderson. Mark on keyboards. Tony on bass. Well, guitar. Lee on bass. And Marlon on drums. Whew, it's time. Although we've been doing it all weekend. We need to just keep doing it every day. We just got to have the clock keep going back an hour so we can get some extra rest. But don't sacrifice your time by not stopping to praise. You know, we've been praising big time. Ricky Byers on Friday night. Woo! East Bay got turned inside out. I know I got the healing I was looking for. I don't know about you, but I got mine. Yes, and all day yesterday, Reverend Judy Ann Young blessed us in the afternoon. She's with us here today. And Reverend Kamal Hassan blessed us in the morning, and we had a good time when meditating and praying and being still. You know, I said it when I got here, and that was 6 months ago, and you say it every week, but you may not be aware that you say it every week, but it's in the sacred covenant. It says, let stillness direct your words and actions. See, that's why when we get caught up in what's going on in the TV, you know, we get it twisted because we're not being still. So in order for us to use the art that we have of thinking, it takes us a moment to just stop and be still and then move forward, because otherwise you're just reacting. And, you know, an act is enough in and of itself. It does not need to be done over and over again. So if you keep finding yourself spinning around, then you might want to just stop and be still. You know, we are moving into a new book of the month. This month's book is called Practical Metaphysics, A New Insight in Truth by Eric Butterworth. Some of you may remember Eric Butterworth is the author of Spiritual Economics. He's a very richly deep soul, and so you may want to hear some of his notes about how this thing called metaphysics is actually put into action. And this is the perfect time for us to do so, because in December we'll be preparing from our Christ consciousness. So in November, we'll be building our Christ consciousness. And by that I mean we'll be building our active stance in oneness. And so not simply standing still in oneness, but acting from oneness. Yes? Now I want to just establish a few things about why this book is important. The study of metaphysics gives us a new perspective in dealing with the world. Say to your neighbor, a new perspective. Because right seeing is the fundamental essence of truth. You will talk to a Buddhist and they will tell you that right seeing is one of the, the 8 tenets that are necessary in order to have a Buddha mind or a body of affairs that is at peace. It starts with a mind that is at peace by seeing rightly. Now, some people just, I don't understand that level of masochism, but for some reason they like to see the glass through the glass darkly. And that's not right seeing. That's what happens when we get anxious and we get all this anxiety around what we see on the news. I'm gonna talk more about that later. But according to Butterworth, he says the art of thinking is that no matter what happens in your world, no matter what happens out there, no matter what you read in the newspapers, no matter what is taking place around you or to you, you always have a choice. You don't have to be angry. These are his words. You don't have to be unhappy. You don't have to be worried. He says, because you are a thinking center within divine mind. Say to your neighbor, I am a thinking center within divine mind. I am a thinking center within divine mind. Okay? Understand that this is where we live. We live inside of divine mind. Okay? We don't live inside a state or a country or even a planet. We live inside divine mind, which is vast and abundant, and all that it is love. So when you live in love, what are you thinking from but love? But see, we forget where we live. I don't care if you live in a tent, you still live in divine mind. Because as long as you are awakened to the truth that divine mind is the love that surrounds me and divine mind is the love that fills me, then what you see from there must be right. You might want to ask, one of our current foundation students, they've been in a meditative state most of the morning. They got up bright and early and were over here at 7 o'clock this morning starting their meditation, getting their meditation on. So I think they might have an idea what I'm talking about when I say we're living in the mind of God. So there's a great need for us, Butterworth says, for a discovery of oneself as a thinking center within the infinite mind of God. We have to discover that. He says, divine mind essentially is your milieu. This is important. Milieu meaning your specialty. Okay? You're in it, all of it, all the time. It is impossible that you should ever have a mind apart from the mind of God, from the divine mind. All you have is a consciousness within divine mind. Your mind is not separate from mine. Your mind is not separate from mine. Your mind is not separate from mine. And so when we know this, then we're absolutely knowing that whatever I need you to know, I am letting you know. Somebody just walked up to me a few minutes ago and said I was dreaming with you 2 nights ago and I was introducing you as my minister to all these different people. And I'm like, okay, great. So now I'm gonna see, what that's gonna manifest to be, because I know everything, it happens twice, first in mind, right? So, don't get caught up in what's going on out there. I get that there's all kind of stuff happening. Yesterday, I was just telling Reverend Judy, and somebody went in a yoga studio and killed a couple people, shot up another 6 people. But these places where we go to have peace and to have mindfulness. But it's okay. I'm going to tell you, all we need are larger maps. This is what Butterworth says. We need a larger thought of God and a new insight of ourselves. See, practical metaphysics will change our minds and the direction of our lives. So, because we are a thinking center, we are a consciousness within it. And the intelligence that is in back of all thought is the intelligence that runs the universe. So how could God be mistaken? It's not possible. Of course, we direct this intelligence into the molds of our consciousness, into the molds of human awareness. Look to your neighbor and say, how are you directing your consciousness? Or really, because I can tell the difference. Like if you just got through being in a spiritual practice and you're directing your consciousness from love and you walk into somebody who is not really vibrating at that same vibration, then you know that you may want to get out of the way of where their consciousness is being directed so that you can stay tuned in to the universal mind that we are living and moving and having our beingness in. You know, that song they were singing, get your praise up, get your praise on, and put your hands up. One of the lyrics was, you've been watching as your life fills up with rain. Who knows that? We've had plenty of rain, haven't we? That synagogue in Pittsburgh, I call that a rainstorm. We had the racists in Charlottesville, Florida, a couple of years back, driving through a crowd and killing someone of their own complexion, trying to aim for somebody else. We had a boy going to a Wednesday, I didn't say man, we had a boy going into a Wednesday night prayer meeting and killing the people he prayed for. We had our democracy challenged by another country's meddling. We've had a young girl stabbed at the bar. We've had a man in the highest office condemn people from a certain country. We've had a U.S. president talk about the countries in the African diaspora as places of defecation. We've had a United States president talk about the ineptitude of a woman who was giving her testimony about being violated. So we've also seen the glory of God revealed throughout all of our life. You know, you've seen in America who could and did elect a person of color to the highest office in the land. And this happened 232 years after enslaving this African descendant's relatives. You've seen a Baptist preacher revolutionize politics with his faith and his tenacity. You've seen a Latinx farmer revolutionize labor practices with his nonviolent tactics. You've seen an Indian lawyer create a freedom movement built on peace. You've seen an African lawyer destroy apartheid. Now, we've seen changes in our world not through politicians, but through thinking. Dedicated people who knew something greater about themselves than the rhetoric that was being offered. When the praise goes up, the blessings come. It's time to get your praise on. So lift your hands up and take your ballot. Thank you. Sing your song means to choose your good. I'm not saying choose that name that sounds familiar. We got plenty of mail over these last few weeks. And I know y'all know how to read for the most part. If you need some help, just ask me. I'll help you read. Because you need to know who it is that you are selecting. We are not just electing, we are selecting our future. So it's important for us to know that, you know, when we're getting our praise up, that we're also ready to punch the ballot. So get your praise up and punch the ballot. Because there is an art to thinking. Now, art is defined as the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination. Now, I'm not finished, but I'm just going to break this part down. The application of human creative skill and imagination means that I've got something within me that is informing me of what is possible. I'm applying that human aspect of me to utilize that creative skill in expressing something that has never been expressed before. I am applying my imagination to see the possibilities. See, there was a man who said, I have a dream. He didn't let go of that dream. He didn't care if the dogs were nipping at his butt. He didn't care if the police officers were beating him down with a baton. He didn't care if he was imprisoned for a time. He continued to have an imagination for an America that was greater than the one that he had been living in, greater than the one that had a burning cross on his front yard, greater than the one that was calling up his house, threatening his lives and the lives of his children, greater than the one that was putting him under investigation by the CIA. There was something that was in his imagination that he didn't put there himself. There was something from divine mind that he allowed to seep into his awareness. And when he allowed it to seep into his awareness, he became crystal clear that it was his to do, that it was his path, that it was his ministry to step into, because God speaks very clearly. God does not stutter. Say to your neighbor, God does not stutter. Okay? And know that when the presence is speaking to you, it intends to speak through you. So don't go looking at somebody next to you talking about that's yours, when you know it wasn't that person that heard it, it was you. Now here's what Ernest Holmes says. Ernest Holmes says, thought is an inner movement. I don't care what those people are saying to you across your fence while you out there watering your lawn. Thought is an inner process, an inner movement, which is largely the result of one's perception of life and his reaction to it. Say to your neighbor, what is your perception of life? What's interesting about asking a question is that you start to automatically contemplate the answer yourself. So you need to pay attention to what you're saying to yourself. Because if you dismiss it, then that means that you're not ready to uproot something that doesn't need to be there, and you're not ready to water something that does need to be there. So he says it's largely a result of one's perception of life. Now, if you got it all fixed in your mind that, the United States is going to hell in a handbasket, then, how are you reacting to that? It's like, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to hell in a handbasket. Or is it, heck no, I'm not going that way. Let me go a different way. Matter of fact, you won't come with me? Okay? Because that's all it takes is a small group of committed people to change the world. Margaret Mead already told you that. Now, understand that every time this movement takes place, within mind, upon cause, according to law, then that's the same energy that we're dealing with that molds the planets and all that is upon them. Understand that, there is something magnificent that has an opportunity to reveal itself through our lives. And so we are not victims that are having something done to us. We have all the power that is because we live in divine mind. We're surrounded by power. We're filled with power. We were made out of the spiritual image and likeness of power. Okay? That means everything about you is power filled. If you like it, you can't even begin to deny it. Now, I want you to know what else Ernest Holmes has to say about it. We must unify ourselves with the great whole. Now, let me just say this. Who here is not aware of their power? Who here is not aware of their power? Okay, I know. You ain't gonna admit it. Your life's already showing you, but you don't have to tell me. But if it's not showing up in a powerful way, then that means it's time to accept a healing. And this is truly all that this teaching is about. This teaching is only about spiritual healing. We covered up with a whole bunch of words and a whole bunch of books and all of this. This teaching is about healing. And that's what I came in here to East Bay to do. And I don't care if it looks like if it's going backwards, it's still moving forward because that's how God is. Now, Ernest Holmes says the emphasis on true mental healing is insistently on God, the one mind, the one soul, the one being, ever present and ever available, and on man's, woman's ability and right to make himself, herself receptive to this healing presence. God is doing it. Are you being receptive to this healing presence? No, I want to stay broken. No, I want to stay sick. No, I want to stay angry. No, I want to stay fragmented. No, I want to stay disappointed. No, I want to stay frustrated. No, I want to stay small. And you carrying all the power in the life that is within you. What kind of sense does that make? Well, it's not logical. So we're going to talk about what those other thoughts are that are getting in the way with your truth. He says, a realization of the essential divinity of our own nature and the truth that no evil can live in this presence. Now, before y'all start arguing for your devil, I'm going to repeat it. A realization of the essential divinity of our own nature and the truth that no evil can live in this presence. How you going to know if something's evil? Except by the way you see it. Right seeing sees the word as live. Wrong seeing sees the word as evil. God wants to grow us through our experiences. So everything doesn't have to be so easy that we don't get to use our magnificent wisdom, that we don't get to have an opportunity to stop and be still. You said it in the sacred covenant, and because stillness is what is leading you to your greater good, because stillness is the way that you are fulfilled, because being still is the way that you express love, compassion, and produce a harvest of good deeds. So Ernest Holmes goes on to say that we must unify ourselves with the great whole, the person who dares to fling his thought out into universal intelligence with the assurance of one who realizes his divine nature and its relationship to the universe and dares to claim all that is, will find an ever creative good at hand to aid him. Now, let me just break that down just a little bit. If you just want to allow yourself to abandon your mind in this divine mind that is overarching underneath all around us, if you just want to just open your mind to the possibilities that has for you, if you just want to allow your current thoughts to be suspended for just a moment, knowing that once I realize who I am as a divine being and who I am in relationship to this universe, I am an expression of it. I am a unit of power. I am the absolute fulfillment of this wisdom. Once I am able to dare to do that, I am daring to claim all that is. There is nothing outside of my reach. There is nothing outside of my experience. There is nothing outside of my truth. And so when you dare to claim that, Ernest Holmes says, to the soul that knows its own divinity, all else must gravitate. When you know that you are divine, everything comes to you. There's no efforting, there's no sweating required. There's no pushing required. And so when you come to places like this, to remember who you are as a divine expression of God. If you're not in class, I hope you're at least watching on Facebook Live, hey live streamers. I hope you're at least paying attention to what's on the CDs and DVDs. Because if you need to know anything, it's to know your own divinity. And then everything else falls into place. See, I can't stop praising God. So I'm just saying I love songs like that remind me. Oh, you think I wasn't praising God this morning for that hour? See, y'all saw the results. Y'all didn't see everything that led up to it, right? So just understand that when you know that God's got it, then you don't need to produce wrong seeing into the world and bring that other energetic into play. That just makes you have to keep reminding yourself instead of just kind of humming on through. One more thing I want to tell you about that Ernest Holmes says. Healing is clear thinking. Scientific mental healing is the result of clear thinking and logical reasoning, which presents itself to consciousness and is acted upon by mind. So once you're clear, and now you're seeing things and things just make sense when you surrender to the one mind. And so when you're in this logical reasoning, now you're presenting yourself to that one mind. It's just like, I'm open to receive, and then it's acted on. You become even more wise. You become enlightened. Your whole life gets lighter. There is something that happens that unearths, he says, unearths the mental cause or idea underlining dis-ease. Y'all know that word is disease. I never say it like that anymore. Because I know there's a mental cause for every effect. And if I'm experiencing dis-ease, then there's a mental cause that I need to eradicate. So now, whatever it is that is presenting itself is asking permission to leave. If it don't belong, that means it's rubbing up against you. And either this going to become a pearl, and you that oyster, or it needs to be dispersed into the ocean until it dissolves back into the nothingness from which it came. So I want you to know, one of my high school friends was was on Facebook. She works with a lot of people who are incarcerated and people with challenges with substance abuse. And she showed them The Wizard of Oz. I'm like, yeah, girl, you're right. She was always smart in school. We were in honors classes together. And she said, I said, well, girl, you got it right there. You got it. Because you got Joseph Campbell's myth right there. You got the hero's journey right there. That's going to make it plain to them. And she's like, I don't know nothing about Joseph Campbell. I'm like, girl, look. Right? Because Joseph Campbell was one of the most prominent thinkers in recent history. He died in 1987, I think at the age of 84. Now, because he lays it all out. And I'm going to tell you, I had to learn this when I was going to a class at Disney for being a story analyst. So these are the writers that, work for Disney, and they read the scripts that come in. They read the concepts that come in. They read the ideas that come in. And they decide if they want to move this project forward in order to be a movie. So one of their story analysts was my teacher. I'm telling you, I've been blessed with some awesome teachers, spiritual and otherwise, as if there's an otherwise. But anyway, there's a structure, and it's based on Joseph Campbell's design of the hero's journey. He didn't create it in his mind. He just observed it. See, these stories can be seen throughout history. You can go back to any age, and you will find this hero's journey wherever you look. Yes. And I'll break that down on another day. But, there are stories of heroes in mythology and in novel writing. And there is someone who has found or done something beyond the normal range. Like, how do you keep breaking records? How do you keep going further than any human ever did? It's because there was something that was happening that allowed the hero to give in to something greater than himself, herself. There was a hero that allowed themselves to surrender to something greater than themselves, because I of myself can do nothing. I don't need to effort to make something happen. All I have to do is allow and surrender to that I am in order for me to become greater than I ever knew I could be. So there's two types of deeds. One is a physical act, an act of heroism. So perhaps you do something that saves someone. You assist someone in moving forward in their life, or you do something to keep them alive for another day. Whatever it is. And then there's a spiritual hero. And the spiritual hero has learned or found a mode of experiencing a supernormal range of spiritual life and has come back and communicated it. Okay? Jesus, okay? Muhammad, okay? Gautama Buddha, okay? You can name any of these humans that caught something and came back to communicate it. Okay? So of all the wonderful spiritual heroes that you have seen here in East Bay, I'm hoping that you have been taking notes, that you have been noticing that this is something that is going to be helpful to me and that I can use on my journey going forward, because I never know when I'm going to be caught up against the wall and I'm going to need to know something that I forgot that I knew it, because maybe I didn't even take a moment to be with what was being presented to me at the time. Maybe it was a song. Maybe it was a message. Maybe it was a reading. But you too have an opportunity to be a hero, because everyone is a hero. And so you must understand that in the midst of every seeming challenge, there is an opportunity for transformation. Oh, you didn't hear me. I'm going to have to say it again, because I'm all about transformation. I ain't messing around with nothing else but transformation. We have undergone tremendous transformations, even from the amniotic sac to becoming a breathing animal. You see that? you not see that that's transformation? You swimming in something, now you on ground? And you navigating without breaking your flow? Yeah, you might cry a little bit, but so what? You adjust. You adjust to that change, right? You adjust to the new environment, right? You adjust to the new atmosphere. You know, you adjusting to me, I'm adjusting to being in the Bay. There's a whole lot of adjusting going on. But we're becoming better in the process. We're transforming in the process. See, even this child has to die to his infantile persona to become a responsible adult. Somebody send that to the president. Anyway. We have to die to our infantile persona and become a responsible adult. We can't keep just flying by the seat of our pants or doing something halfway or just getting by. No. That's right. Yeah, that's why y'all be complaining, because I'm like, getting by is not how we do this. We're going to do this right or leave it alone. So now, if our political leaders cannot die to foolishness, we at least must do this. Because remember, it wasn't anybody who was a politician that changed the world. It was the committed people who knew something greater was possible. Now, you know, you may think it's a miracle to go from an amniotic sac to be walking around on the land. It is a miracle, but then it's not. It's simply the journey created by intelligence itself. Now, in the Celtic tradition, somebody follows an animal, and that hero goes into an area where he hasn't been before and finds himself in an adventure. We continue to find ourselves in adventures, but that doesn't mean those adventures are making us smaller. They're growing us into our magnificence. They're revealing who we are as divine beings. I invite you to see every challenge as an opportunity to become who you truly are, as a divine expression of the One. Because I know this is true about you, and I invite you to know that too. Namaste. As Lynn is bringing up the prayer box, we're going to move into prayer. I invite all practitioners and ministers to stand with me as I do so. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna ask Sharon and them to help me out a little bit. I'm gonna ask them to help us out a little bit. Sometimes you need a little extra nudge. That's all right. You can keep standing. Those of you who were standing. Ha! You ready?
I believe.
train is here to open up our minds. That train is here tooting its horn. Woo! You hear it coming down the line. It's saying, get ready. Get ready to be more. Get ready to know more. Get ready to accept more. Oh yes, we know that it is this infinite mind that is giving us that signal. I'm coming. Get ready to get on board. Mother, Father God, we know that this essence has everything that we need for our total and complete fulfillment. It is the very wholeness, the completeness, the perfection of our lives. We are being fine-tuned in our journey of being heroes and heroines. And in the process, we are just simply saying yes to something greater than we've ever known before. Oh, Mother, Father God, I'm knowing that this is the truth for anyone who has placed something in the treatment box. If that person wants to know more wholeness, that means perhaps they're having some kind of a physical challenge that they're ready to release. I know from my mother that I would stand in agreement with her to release any kind of so-called chronic spinal stenosis. I'm knowing that there is something about her support system that is whole and complete. There is something about who she is that is informing the skeletal structure of her being. I am knowing that there's something that is emanating peace throughout that nervous system and releasing any kind of pain. I am knowing that in all of her strength, that rather than needing to ignore it, that she simply doesn't have to think about it. I'm knowing the truth for Arlene, Olivia, and Mamacita as they release the Uncle Kitty Humphrey, who is now in the invisible realm. I'm knowing peace for each one of them, for Uncle Kitty has already blessed them with everything they need to know about themselves. And we know ease and grace as he acclimates himself in his next dimension, and he continues to be a spirit guide for this family, so that when they don't even know that they need to call on the ancestor is already there, giving them exactly what they're called for. I'm knowing that whoever has called to this pastoral care team or called me in the middle of the night, I'm knowing Geneva Dalton has peace around her family right now. I'm knowing that for her children and for her grandchildren. I'm knowing that there is something that is an opportunity for a revolution that is a peaceful revolution, a revolution that is a transformation. That something is shifting here and allowing peace to have its full sway. I'm knowing that person that wrote something in the prayer box about not enough is now awakened to the truth that there is more in store for them, and that it is available at their fingertips, and even closer than that. Right there within is supplying everything necessary for that fulfillment of that being. Oh, I'm knowing wherever there's a challenge in a relationship, some kind of seeming divide gets closed up by love. Some kind of disappointment or disagreement is eradicated from that mental body and that body of affairs. And what emerges is the oneness, the divinity, unwraps any kind of tightness and just simply allows the flow of living waters to wash it all away. I know that all is well because I know that all is God. In gratitude for it all, I release this word. I let it be. And so it is. Practitioners for standing with me in truth. The ministers standing with me in truth. Oh boy, it's time for the money. We get money every kind of way we can. If you don't have your wallet, I know you got your phone. Just text 50-155 to East Bay, all lowercase, EASTBAY. I know live streamers, you got a post up there that already shows you what to click on. I know those of you who know there's a kiosk here can find your way to just slide that credit card on through and allow the blessings to continue to bless East Bay. For those of you who are writing a check, we know it's East Bay Church of Religious Science. Just don't forget to sign your name at the bottom. What I know is that we love cash, and our counters are just as prepared to take cash as anything else. So God's got so many different ways for you to give, and we are so ready to accept. So as the ushers come forward, we'll let our songstresses give us some additional inspiration. And so we give thanks now for all that has been given, and for those of us who are pledging all that has been removed from our bank account and moved into East Bay's bank account. We're knowing that everything is in the flow of the all good, and it cannot return to us void. So whatever we have given continues to bless us. And it blesses East Bay with being able to pay whatever debts away or straight. And I'm knowing that whatever that is that needs to be dismissed and dissolved happens with the greatest of ease, as we easily and effortlessly remove any kind of encumbrances, because we know the truth of who we are is freedom. So I give thanks for all the activities that continue to source this divine idea in the mind of God known as East Bay Church of Religious Science. I give thanks for the giver and all of its good graciousness and generosity. I give thanks for the receivers, knowing that we are in one body and one body of affairs. In gratitude, I release this word. I let it be, and so it is. And so it is. Amen. Do we have some children? Some children? Oh, it must be good. They don't want to leave. Here we come. Hey.
And we had some interesting learning today. And I believe we had an actual teen group today, so we're really celebrating. It's a wonderful thing.
So today we did our gratitude journal, and basically we wrote down stuff that we're thankful for. So I had to choose one. And I said I was thankful for that I can create my future how I want by working at it.
I said I was thankful for God giving me shelter.
And I said I was thankful for family.
Are you going to share who you made your gratitude journal for?
Uh-huh.
Who'd you make it for?
For Mima. The gratitude journal is something that you write what you're thankful for. How it works is if you write what you're thankful for, it lets you release all of your feelings into the gratitude journal. A way to spread the gratitude is to have upbeat emotions, happy emotions, and then you can spread it with the rest of the world.
One thing I'm grateful for is having a roof over my head when I go home. Something I'm grateful for is my family and my brothers.
So Toussaint, he's going to be the lead he's the lead for the teens, and so I wanted to give him the mic so he could share.
Hey. Well, I'm sharing the lead with my wife, Jackie. We explored the concept of the ripple effect today, which means that what you create in action, deeds, and consciousness ripples out and affects the world with either positive or negative energy. And so this is a really important concept that we explored. We spoke about this with our teens. They shared what type of ripples they want to put out and what type of ripples they're putting out. And it was a really deep exchange and conversation we had back there. So our teens are deep. So we just want your support to support them in their deepness in God.
Look at God. Well, it's time to go. Except for those of you who want to join me in visioning. I'll be visioning starting at 12:30, and then we'll be done by 2. So let's now just stand up and celebrate all that has been revealed. My source, my substance, my supply, my allness, the miracle that never ends. This life energy, this goodness, oh, it leads me, it follows me, it pushes me gently forward into my greatest yet to be. I follow it, I surrender to it, I absolutely vote from it, and I know from it that all things are possible, and I celebrate this truth. Giving gratitude for all that unfolds, I release this word, I let it be, and so it is. Amen. Ashe.